Welcome to another episode of the Tobago House of Assembly's Post-Executive Council Media Briefing. This week, the Secretary of Tourism, Culture and Transportation, Nadine Stewart-Phillips, addresses the media.
I would be speaking on 4 areas this afternoon, namely the recently concluded Dragon Boat Festival, 2 missions that were undertaken by the division and the Tobago Tourism Agency Limited, that's Caribbean Tourism Organization Week in New York, and Cruise Sales Call mission that was in Miami, and the upcoming launch of the division's Community Tourism Awareness Campaign. The 8th annual Tobago Dragon Boat Festival was hosted at Pigeon Point Heritage Park from June 16th to June 17th, where we saw 12 teams from Trinidad and 2 from Tobago competing for victory over a 2-day period of racing action in various categories, including mixed races, female races, and under 21 races. The dragon boat racing has its roots in ancient Chinese folklore dating back more than 2,000 years. And 8 years ago, the then Division of Tourism and Transportation adopted the sport and integrated it into the vibrant cultural fabric of Tobago. This event, for the first time in 2018, was hosted and implemented by the Tobago Festivals Commission with the support of the Division of Tourism, Culture and Transportation in collaboration with the Trinidad and Tobago Dragon Boat Federation. I extend congratulations to all the teams and the eventual winners in the various categories. The Tobago Dragon Boat Festival now forms a major part of the Sport Tourism Trust here in Tobago as we continue to develop the water sport tourism product for Tobago. Noteworthy to mention this afternoon is that Tobago, and specifically the Pigeon Point venue, will host the 2019 4th Pan-American Club Crew Championships from March 21st to March 24th, where teams from across the Pan-American region of Canada, USA, Panama, Puerto Rico, and Trinidad and Tobago will compete right here in Tobago. The event will be hosted by the Tobago House of Assembly in collaboration with the Trinidad and Tobago Dragon Boat Federation and the Pan-American Federation. The discussion is currently in the planning stage and more information will be provided in the coming months. Now, coming out of Tobago being the host destination for the 2019 Pan-American Club Crew Championship, the intention is that Tobago will become the home and the host destination for this event in the coming years. But of course, that will be very dependent on us as Tobagonians being excellent hosts to the visitors to ensure that they are satisfied with the customer service experience, with the quality of the product here in Tobago. And so I implore all of us to ensure that we are excellent in our customer service and our visitors feel welcomed. The Caribbean Tourism Organization Week, as I indicated earlier, the division and the Tobago Tourism Agency attended Caribbean Week in New York. That was during the period June 3rd to June 9th. Participating at Caribbean Week offered a number of benefits and outcomes for the destination, and I would hasten to say that the week was indeed very productive. We benefited from discussions on tourism issues and challenges within the region from the forums that we attended. Discussions were held as well with the travel trade, and updates were given to the regional and international media on our offerings here in Tobago. Key topics discussed at some of our high-level meetings included improving airlift in the region, a presentation was made by Carib Sky, which is an alliance of regional airlines, with the goal of establishing a much larger network to improve airlift to the Caribbean. There were also discussions on joint marketing initiatives among islands, those who share flights specifically. And Tobago, we share flights with 3 Caribbean islands, St. Lucia, Barbados, and Antigua. And so the Tobago Tourism Agency will be working in close proximity with these islands to ensure that these flights are full coming from North America. At the Educational Forum, the theme was Selling Wellness Travel, and it comprised an exhibition and a 4-minute sales pitch per destination to over 300 travel agents about the wellness holiday options in the Caribbean. This trade show brought together agents through a cadre of more than 200 professionals that sell the region, drawing from the CTO's database of media to operators, airline, and wholesaler databases. The CEO of the Tobago Tourism Agency, Mr. Louis Lewis, did a 4-minute presentation on the new direction for promoting Tobago and what makes Tobago unique as a tourism destination. The Caribbean Media Marketplace, again, that's one of the other forums that we attended, and it exposed the destination to an estimated 121 vetted travel journalists and other media representing more than 100 companies across the travel and tourism landscape. These journalists were selected by the Caribbean Tourism Organization because they have consistently provided positive and factual coverage of the region across multiple platforms. Among the media houses, television stations were also present to interview and feature senior tourism representatives. In that regard, at least 8 television and 6 radio interviews were conducted by both myself and the CEO, covering media houses and demographics in the USA market. And so this will result in significant media coverage for the destination in the coming months. As a matter of fact, I saw the New York Times. There's a feature on Tobago in the New York Times. So we look forward to other media coverage in the coming months. Now, the cruise sales mission in Miami. In keeping with the roadmap for growth approved by the Board of Directors of the Tobago Tourism Agency and endorsed by the tourism private sector stakeholders, a cruise sales mission was conducted between June 12th and June 16th, immediately following Caribbean Week in New York. Increasing cruise passenger arrivals as well as the on-island expenditure of those visitors were clearly articulated in the objectives of the roadmap, which are intended to lead to increased economic activities and benefits from tourism. Myself and the CEO comprise the delegation. And some of the main objectives of this initiative: 1, to establish a working relationship with the various cruise operators to increase the number of cruise vessels visiting the island from cruise lines which currently visit Tobago, and to seek new opportunities for the destination by focusing on cruise lines that visit destinations within close proximity of Tobago, such as Grenada, as those represent potential additional business. Now, prior to the mission, research was conducted on the various lines operating within our region, and a matrix developed in pursuit of meeting appointments with the appropriate executives and for developing what the approach of the discussion will be. Now, during the missions, the team engaged several meetings with representatives of 18 cruise lines in total, 7 representing cruise lines that currently call to Tobago and 11 that have never called to the destination. In those meetings and beyond the introductions, there was a clear outline of the direction and the role that tourism and cruise business in particular is expected to play to the economic development of Tobago, as the team invited the various cruise lines to include Tobago on their respective schedules. The range of product offerings for the cruise sector were articulated in a professionally prepared digital presentation, and we left that presentation with the cruise lines. So let me just highlight the general findings. The outreach to the various lines were well received and without exception, and they welcome the opportunities to work with the destination in various ways to grow our cruise business. Now, due to our geographic location, Tobago benefits from cruise business, which home ports out of Barbados, Martinique, and Guadeloupe, which accounts for more than half of the cruise passenger arrivals to the destination. And those are for cruises ranging between 5 to 7 days, and normally Tobago is at the end or close to the end of the schedules, of course, because of where we are located geographically. Approximately 20% of our cruise business we attract originates from further north, that is San Juan, and are generally longer cruise schedules, but similarly positioned on the itinerary closer to the end, so that's like 14-day cruises. The cruise line's planning frame is at least 24 months ahead, and schedules for 2018 and 2019-20 are almost complete. So consideration for additional business will impact our arrivals further in 2019 and 2020. However, the 7 lines that we have currently coming, they have us on their itineraries for both Port of Scarborough and Charlottesville, and the new lines would keep us at the top of their minds just in case they need to adjust for 2018-2019. Now, the cruise business has tremendous potential for growth and generating economic activities for Tobago. However, to realize that potential, we need to be in continuous engagement with these cruise lines, attendance at the various cruise forums, and constant monitoring of the changing dynamics of the market and the competition to avoid relegation. Finally, I would just give a summary of our community tourism awareness program. The Division of Tourism, Culture and Transportation recognized the need to develop and implement a community tourism awareness campaign that would bring a genuine change of culture across communities by helping the people of Tobago, especially but not exclusively those working in the service industries, to understand the very significant impact a thriving tourism industry could have on all of us, both professionally and personally, as well as on the island's economy. This awareness campaign will be launched on Thursday, 5th July 2018 at the Fort King George Heritage Park, Scarborough. The program is designed to sensitize communities of the importance of tourism and the role each community play in enhancing tourism in their communities. It would target the general public, members of the media, students, stakeholders, career influencers such as teachers and parents. In addition, the structure of the program allows for outreach in the communities where support would be given to potential and current tourism business owners. The campaign will be undertaken in 3 phases as follows. Phase 1 aims to create more awareness among Tobagonians of tourism and the role that tourism plays. Phase 2, geared towards changing perceptions and attitudes of the Tobago population. Phase 3, desire to create and support positive behavior of persons in the local communities. This program is expected to be completed in the next 3 years, as altering attitudes and behavior is a long-term process. It's not something that takes place overnight, and that requires deep nurturing to change opinions while respecting the Tobagonian view towards tourism in Tobago. 3 key results are expected to be achieved from this campaign. The first, increasing awareness of tourism industry's importance to the Tobago economy, creating awareness of the value of tourism careers, sensitizing communities of their role in enhancing community tourism. Our Youth in Tourism initiative, that is also part of the wider community tourism awareness, and that already commenced in the schools. Now, this campaign is a critical component for achieving the division's overall mission to reposition Tobago as an ideal tourist destination, and therefore we are asking for the full support and participation of all Tobagonians to ensure that this initiative is indeed successful.
What are our calls looking like at this time for Tobago, and what can we look forward to?
That will be confirmed probably by closer to August, because what happens is that they would send the entire schedule to the Port Authority, and so the port will inform us these are the persons that these are the calls that we're expected to receive. However, the 7 cruise lines that currently call at the destination, they have us on the itineraries for both Scarborough and Charlottesville. But closer to August, we would get at least how many calls each line would make, because sometimes we have lines making, ships making, as a matter of fact, 4 calls, 5 calls, as we saw with the Britannia. They made 8 calls to the destination in the last season. So we don't have that concrete information as yet.
How soon can we see like some areas in Tobago, like tourist attractions, have further refurbishment works done? I know at Speyside Lookout, I don't know why there's the barrier there at the bottom, so you can't turn to go down. You can't exit lower down. There's a barrier there, so you can't exit. You have to turn from on top.
At the top. Well, I'm not sure about the barrier being at Speyside. However, we are working. One of the things that we are working on very assiduously at the division is getting some of our sites income generating. We are currently in the final stages of the Fort King George project. There's a wall to be completed, and as soon as that is completed, of course, we would release the information where persons would now have to pay a fee. We are also encouraging entrepreneurs as well to get on board with us so that they can concessionaire spaces and so on, where persons can have items on sale and those kind of things happening at Fort King George specifically. So we are looking at Fort King George, we are looking at Fort Bennett as well, and we are looking at Fort James as our pilot projects immediately. Hopefully that answered the question.
Mm-hmm. And these are going to be ongoing?
Ongoing, yes. So we are looking at those 3 immediately, and then we are going to look at other sites as well.
You spoke about the Pan American Dragon Boat Festival.
Mm-hmm.
Can you give us an insight into the scope of the role that the Assembly will be playing in hosting it? Because I know you will be doing it in conjunction with the National Association.
Right. So some of the specifics that I can speak to now, when this Pan American Championship is hosted, we would have to assist in defraying the cost for the boats and so on. So the boats would belong to the Tobago House of Assembly, and that's why I indicated that we want to move to ensure that even after 2019, Tobago becomes the home destination for that Pan American Championship. So in terms of like hotels and so on, they would cover those costs, airfare, they would cover those costs and so on. But in the boats, I know we would have to assist in purchasing, but they would belong to the Tobago House of Assembly.
Okay, thank you very much. And concerning the regatta that just went Sunday, I received reports that there was sort of a low turnout as compared to other years. With the Assembly being a major stakeholder in the regatta, can you theorize as to why this may have been?
I know I wasn't there because I actually returned on Sunday, but of course I inquired. I know some of the teams from Trinidad, they did cancel at the last minute. Of course, it was Father's Day as well, so I think that's something we would have to look at. Of course, it's the World Cup. Everybody is taken up with looking at the World Cup. So I think those were some of the attributing factors, because I received reports that based on attendance over the years, it was lower this year, and those were some of the factors that attributed to the low turnout.
Considering the cruise ship arrivals, I know over the years a lot of people have always been complaining that the lack of activity in the capital during when the ships dock and the tourists don't have anything to do and that kind of thing. Can we look forward towards a collaboration with the division and the private sector, having more collaboration and interconnectedness in terms of the scheduling of the ships, and when they can open for businesses, encourage them to open on a Sunday if some of the ships coming in on a Sunday, or later on a Saturday if they come in on a Saturday, and so forth, so that tourists could actually have activities to do in the capital? Is that something that the division is looking towards?
I like that you raised that point, Akinlabi, because this is where we are calling for the private sector and the entrepreneurs in Tobago to step up, because we are doing our part as the Assembly, as the state, and we are going out and we are getting these lines to come. Most of the businesses in Scarborough, they have the schedules of when these ships are calling. On Sunday they are closed and so on. So this is a call for the private sector to step up. This is a call for persons, if you know that you have artifacts and so on for sale, get a spot and set up, because it cannot always and only be the Tobago House of Assembly. But I take your point, but I am challenging the private sector to step up and do their part.
When you said that they have this schedule, is it that the division last season gone gave out this schedule to the businesses?
They have the schedule. All the businesses in Scarborough, they have the schedules. The drugstores have the schedules. All the bars on that stretch, they all have the schedules. But I think more than that, what we are working towards is getting the Esplanade, creating a buzz at the Esplanade, so that the persons, when they come, they don't have to walk all the way down, because there is something happening there. So we are working as well with the Division of Finance and Economy and Community Development, where business development falls, so that we can have those booths open, because a number of them are closed during the cruise ship season, so that there's a buzz happening right around that area.
Thank you for staying with us for the Tobago House of Assembly's Post-Executive Council Media Briefing for the week ending June 23rd, 2018.